Well, as a great man once said, I can't spake. What a game. I mean, we're talking game of the season, goal of the season, player of the season, young player of the season. What? I thought I was going to be sitting down here at half-time talking about a brilliant Manchester United performance and maybe a slightly dodgy second half, but we come out on top and that would be the end of it. But, oh my, what was that game of football? I mean, I can still sit here and say that was a great performance from Manchester United, probably our best performance of the season, and we've come away with a result after a dodgy second half. But I didn't think it'd be that dodgy. Just all of it. Like, I think, again, you have to break the game up into two halves, because it really was a game of two halves. And it was a first half Ten Hag masterclass. Then it was a second half Ten Hag disaster class. And then KOBBIE MAINOO just goes, sod it, I'm the best thing since I don't know what. I'm going to take you all on myself. I'm 18, I don't care, and I'm going to score goal of the season. Like, well, honestly, like, I didn't even celebrate Mainoo's goal. I was so stunned, I just sat there with my mouth gaping open, like out of some sort of cartoon or something. What a game, what a performance, what a win, and what a player KOBBIE MAINOO is. But let's try and break it down, because, like I say, the first half was the best I've seen Manchester United play all season. And it was due to the players that were back. Casemiro back in the team, Luke Shaw back in the team, Martinez back in the team. Arguably even the likes of Varane back in the team, Rashford back in the team even worked out. Everything about that starting lineup, it was the best starting lineup of the season. I still think Onana's a little bit dodgy, and I think we'll talk about him in a moment, but other than that, the 10 outfield players that started that game, it was the best lineup we've had all season. It was the best performance we've had all season in that first half. And the only disappointment coming out of that first half is it wasn't about 5 or 6-0 at half time. But the link-up play for the first time all season was brilliant. And that was firstly due to Casemiro being back in midfield, allowing KOBBIE to be a little bit more freed up, knowing he has that protection that I've been asking and begging for so long, which then further freed up Bruno, which then brought in Højlund, Garnacho and Rashford more. But what was better is that Rashford and Garnacho were tucking in, allowing Shaw and Dalot on the overlap. And Luke Shaw back in that left-back position. What a difference it makes with him in the side. Rashford's link-up play with whoever's been playing at left-back, Reguilon, Amrabat, whoever, like Wan-Bissaka or Dalot, whoever's been at left-back, the link-up between Rashford and the left-back just hasn't been there. With Luke Shaw, there was a clear connection. They know how to play off each other. And Rashford's performance was so much better because of it. He was passing more, he was shooting at the right times, and he knew when to feed Luke Shaw. He's not had that sort of relationship with a left-back all season long. And I think the performance from Rashford was shown because Luke Shaw was back in the team. His goal itself came from Dalot. Overlap on the right-hand side, ball in, good lead by Bruno. Højlund doing what Højlund does best, feeding the ball, or getting the ball, then feeding it into another player. Rashford scores the goal. Great goal, 1-0. Second goal, ball out to Rashford. Good build-up play again. Shaw on the overlap, timed to perfection. Cut back good. Højlund across the man. Gets a little touch, gets a little bit lucky, but strikers need a bit of luck. Brilliant goal, 2-0 Manchester United. Then it should have been 3, 4 or 5, but I don't really have time to moan about that because there's so much that happened in that game. But again, disappointed not to see Manchester United further ahead at half-time. Wasteful from Bruno at certain times. Garnacho had a couple of opportunities to pass. Again, no real complaints about Højlund or Rashford for the rest of that first half. Second half kicks off, and it looked like things were going to go exactly the same way. Immediately, a great chance for Bruno Fernandes. Should have done better. Probably didn't need to take a touch. When he did take a touch, he then needed to take a second touch to beat Dawson to make it 3-0. He didn't. Game goes on a little bit and it sort of becomes a little bit more end-to-end, a little bit more open. Chances start coming for Wolves, but nothing majorly significant until the penalty. And it's not a penalty. It's not. I'm not going to sit here and moan about that decision because we all know Wolves should have had a penalty at Old Trafford. Maybe that was going through Jared Gillett's mind. I still think Jared Gillett is the best referee in the Premier League right now. But maybe that was going through his mind. I don't think it was a penalty. VAR couldn't completely prove that there was no contact. For me, there's no contact, but it's not clear and obvious. But I think common sense has to prevail in that situation, especially after the decisions that were not given last night. But I'm not going to get into that. Penalty given, 2-1. Ten Hag then makes this first substitution, taking Casemiro off and putting McTominay on. I thought that was a mistake. Initially proved not to be a mistake because 2 minutes later Scott McTominay makes it 3-1. But for the rest of the game, it did prove to be a mistake because without that protection from McTominay, the midfield was handed back to Wolves and MAINOO was a lot more isolated again without Casemiro in there to support him. Wolves get back into it, make it 3-2 from another corner. Looking at you again, Onana. Because, again, it's not just Onana, it's the shape, it's the setup on defending a set piece, the stupid zonal defending, etc., etc. But I still think Onana should have come down and closed Kilman down after the knockdown from Dawson. He doesn't, he shrinks, it goes in, it's 3-2. And we're thinking, oh my word, are we actually going to throw this game away? Because during all of this, once again, we were still missing chance after chance after chance. Garnacho missed a couple. Rasmus missed one that I thought was pretty simple. He just had to take... His touch was poor. I think he could have shot first time. His touch was poor. His shot was poor. Brilliant save by Jose Sarr, don't get me wrong. Brilliant save with... I think it was his studs in the end, but I thought Rasmus had to score that. Fast forward, and then the Ten Hag disaster class. The substitutions that he made, at the times he made them, did not make sense. Firstly, the Casemiro one, which I've already spoken about, putting him on for McTominay. Yes, Casemiro was one tackle away from getting sent off, but Casemiro got booked in the 3rd minute and hadn't looked like getting sent off up until that point. So I think that was a mistake to take him off. Then to take Martinez off and to put Evans and Maguire on. I've not got too many issues about the Forson one. He deserves minutes. I also like that he put Anthony on the left because he didn't want to disrupt the balance we had with, again, Garnacho and Dalot, Rashford and Shaw becoming Anthony and Shaw, and the whole what I was going on about, which is balls in to Højlund. So I wasn't too fussed about the attacking changes, but the defensive changes made absolutely no sense. And then what made it even worse is when we're in 9 minutes of stoppage time, with 5 minutes of that stoppage time to go, we get a corner and he's sending Evans and Maguire up. You've put them on to hold the game out. Don't send them up for a corner because guess what's going to happen? You're going to get counter-attacked. They're slow as anything. They can't get back and it's a brilliant goal from Pedro Neto. And look, I love Pedro Neto. If it was down to me, there is still half an hour of the transfer window to go. We're not going to get him this month, but Pedro Neto would be my top transfer target for the summer. He is an absolute star and he deserves, with the greatest of respect to Wolverhampton Wanderers, he deserves to be at a better club than Wolverhampton Wanderers. You've got to look at what Jota's doing at Liverpool over the last few seasons since he left. I think Pedro Neto is better than Diogo Jota, and he deserves to be at one of the top clubs in European football. So we'll see. For me, I would love him at Manchester United, but what a goal from him, and deserved from the performance that he'd had all throughout the game. And as I said, a total disaster from Manchester United to concede that goal after what had been a phenomenal performance up to that point. It looked like I'd be coming in to sit here saying, how the hell have we thrown that game away when I still think it was our best performance of the season. But then 18-year-old KOBBIE MAINOO, got to be the calmest 18-year-old to ever step onto a football pitch at this point. He is the most mature footballer. That's the best way I can describe it. He might not be the most mature man, but he is the most mature footballer on that football pitch. His calmness, his composure, his ability, everything about him, he is the complete package. And at 18 years old, to pick the ball up after your team's just throwing the game away, beat one, nutmeg the second, beat the third, then just perfectly pass the ball into the far right-hand corner and run over to those Manchester United fans going mental. Ferguson looking on, smiling with David Gill, just like the good old days. Like, honestly, like I said, I was stunned. I was so stunned I couldn't even celebrate it. But what an unbelievable end to what's probably been my favourite match of the season so far. I think even if we'd have drawn that game, it might have still been my favourite match of the season so far, just for the amount of drama in it. I mean, I've watched some of these African Cup of Nations games over the last few nights, and they've been going to the 100th minute with non-stop chaos. This was right up there, if not even further. And thankfully for me, it's ended in the Manchester United win. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments about what was just the most incredible game I've seen so far this season. What do we do next? Can we keep it together? Can we do it again against West Ham, who just drew at home to Bournemouth? A real opportunity to get another win at the weekend at Old Trafford, with some momentum behind us. 2 wins in a row. Are we back in the upwards direction? I certainly hope so. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.